Back, everybody. Welcome back. Time now for Great Day Fitness. And since June is Men's Health Awareness Month, we really want to put the focus today on men and their mental health.
Yeah, let's talk mental health for men because it's just as important as your physical health.
And here joining us now is Joe Carabase, a father. And we're so glad to see you.
Good to see you.
Happy
Nice
Father's
jacket.
Day. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about mental health today, which I think is just as important, if not more important, than physical health.
Oh, I mean, well, it starts there, right? Because your physical health will never be what you want it to be long term if you don't heal what's inside. And that can show up as self-sabotage, that can affect your confidence, your capabilities, whatever your perceptions of your abilities are. But the big issue is like mental health for men in particular over the last 50 years is increasingly worse. You know, suicide rate, you know, out of all suicides, right, 80% are from men, which is wild. And the thing is there are multiple reasons that attribute to this. One is generational trauma, right? Now, it's not genetics, it's generational trauma. In other words, like I'll use my example of like my papa who came from Greece as an immigrant, you know, he came into a very tough environment where they were broke, there was famine, they had to work hard, there was a lot of stress, a lot of anger, a lot of tension, a lot of survival, right? Also, that was during the years post-depression, so there's that element, right? That brings about a way where men at that point couldn't share their emotions. There was no talk about mental emotions and stuff like that. So that then gets passed on to the next generation and the further generation and so on and so forth, where it's not that there's anything necessarily wrong inherently, but if you don't learn an emotional language, which a lot of men, we don't as kids, and it sounds hard for women to understand that because they're like, because women are so much better at that, right? Hence the suicide numbers. They're able to express emotions much better.
We talk more about things.
Talk more about
amongst each other, even if we don't talk openly, you know?
Exactly. And the thing is like, it can sound like an excuse for a man, and I'm not saying it is, but it's almost like you grow up in a Spanish-speaking country, and someone just expects you to speak English like on the dot.
Right.
Emotional language for men, to that is that hard if we don't have that exposure and awareness of it. That's not making an excuse for men, but the problem is systemic as well, because there's nothing in society that teaches this early on. And you go to typical schools, they don't talk about emotional intelligence. They don't talk about how to express your emotions. And then you have the cultural element of like, you know, crying is weak. And expressing your emotions is weak. So there's all of these factors. And then of course, you know, the recent years, like all of the numbers have, since 2000, you know, since the pandemic, have of course increased because it just sort of perpetuated all the issues that were already there.
You have programs that can help men.
Absolutely, yeah. This is obviously something I'm very passionate about. I have my own journey I've been through, and you know, I look at internal work as the work to do. I call it mental fitness. Just like you think you need to take care of your body, you need to take care of your inside too.
Absolutely.
Express yourself and all that good stuff, but learning how to do so. So I have a Healthy Man Hypnosis coming up next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 19th. Hypnosis is just a really quick way. It's a way to accelerate the subconscious healing. And through that, though, of course, we have our programs for spot reduction and weight reduction and physical programming. But I would say this. I recently did an episode on my podcast. That was yesterday, a podcast on men's mental health.
Okay.
It goes more in detail into all of this. If you go to definewellnesscenter.com on our blog, that link will be posted. I would encourage not just men and husbands and sons and all the like to listen to it, but also women's. I think it would be helpful in relationships to hear a perspective that maybe is not expressed.
Right. You know, one thing that I feel comes up a lot with men in particular, again, this is a very, you know, it sounds like a stereotype, but that stigma of like, you know, men can't share their feelings or anything like that, but you're saying there is a way to heal from
30
within.
seconds we have.
Absolutely, but I would say this, like, right, we don't want to go too far and like, oh, just emotion, don't, you know, physical strength's not important, protecting, no, that's important too, like that's a part of our archetype, right? So it's physical strength and mental strength, which is expressing emotions, crying, healing, all that good stuff.
How do people get in touch with you?
DefineWellnessCenter.com.
There's all the information on your screen. 10% off last-minute Beachbody and drop one size guaranteed. Healthy Man Group, again, is on 619 or 624?
No, sorry, 624. 619 is a weight loss hypnosis.
Okay,
My fault.
624. Good, we got that message
Happy
out there.
Father's
Thank
Day,
you.
Joe.
Thank you very much.
Great
Appreciate it.
see
Tell it to your
you.
husband.
Yes, thank you.
Good to see
Cat
you, Joe.
father.
Thank you.